On today's session, we're going to talk about kids who are in elementary school. What should parents be focusing on and why it is important? I have had parents asking me what to do with their child in elementary school. Just keep in mind, we have preschool and kindergarten age kids who are 4 to 6 years old. We have elementary school kids, which falls in the grades 1st through to 5, and this is ages 6 to 11. The other group is the middle school. The middle school kids are those in grades 6 through 8, and these other kids who are ages 11 through 14. So as you see, we have several groups of kids in the lower level schooling, and these are kids that whenever they're growing up, I have seen it typically with parents thinking, oh, they're still young, I don't need to focus on them. I will just let them grow and enjoy school or do whatever they want in school. I will focus with them once they get into high school. That's a big mistake that most parents make, because at this age is the most critical age for this child's growth, development, and also education growth and development. The reason I say this is because this is where they're learning the basics. They're learning the basics of reading. They're learning the basics of mathematics. They're building their confidence in education. And what that means is when they're building their confidence, I say to parents, they're getting training to make good grades and to know that they can make good grades and that they own those good grades. So having them focus on their education and focus on learning the basics at this age is a key thing. And how, as a parent, you can do that is basically being there for the child to help them improve in their reading, taking them to the library to get books so they can read as often as possible, helping them to practice their math. If you see them falling short on math, putting them in tutoring programs where they can practice and also enhance their math skills. Like, I'll give an example of my daughter when she was in, I think it was 4th grade. She was losing interest in math, and I realized she was not connecting with the teacher. So I had to do something extra at home for her to keep that interest, and so I enrolled her into Commons. I did enroll her into Commons, which is a common tutoring facility here in the US. And the reason I did that was to show her that this is important and we're going to work through it and you're going to still do well. When we did a few months of Kumon and I realized that she was getting back on track and she was getting her interest back, I removed her because I knew she was now on track and she was about to change grades, and I knew she may do better in the next grade with a different teacher. So those are the things you start doing early when they're starting to lose interest, because you don't want them losing interest in any subject at that age. You also have to keep in mind that you have to build their strengths while you're managing their weaknesses. I used to speak to my husband and say, I know she loves English. I know she has no interest in math, but I will still manage that weakness by making sure that she knows it matters for her grade and it matters for her to be able to move on to the next class. So how you manage their weaknesses is basically making sure that you're constantly doing practice worksheets with them. You're constantly reminding them that it's still important, even though they don't feel like they're strong at that. It's okay to not be strong at a specific subject, but it's not okay to fail the subject because they're capable. And if you keep encouraging them, they will build that confidence and they will be able to do what they need to do. I know we were brought up in a background where most of our weaknesses are what was focused on. But in this case, I encourage parents to always focus on the strength but manage the weaknesses. Focusing on the child's strength is making sure that even what they're strong at, you're still cheering them on, you're still advocating for them to do better, because the more they do better, the more they continue doing greater things. And you realize the older they get, they will be able to choose and drop some of the classes that they are not interested in. So if they keep showing a track record of doing great in specific subjects, that's a plus for them. The other thing that I usually advise parents to do, because at this age, it's mostly the work is on the parent. The child is busy trying to learn the school system or learn being in school and go with the waves of the school. But the parent is also supporting that and at the same time exploring their child. This is key because you have to start exploring your child. And what I mean by exploring your child is trying to see what are the things they spark when they do, what are the things they do great, what are the traits that this child has that they can eventually build to become somebody in life or to become something in life. I give examples of some of the most successful individuals in the US. Like we have Serena Williams, we have Tiger Woods, we have Beyonce, we have very many different talented athletes, musicians, or even individuals who have gone on to tech. These individuals, their parents discovered that they had an interest in a specific thing, and the parents focused on growing that one thing. That is the one key thing that I tell most parents to learn from stories from such individuals. You as a parent is the one who identifies what is your child's star, I may call it, and you help them to build towards that. So exploring your child is a key thing at this age. So you have to be attentive of the things they talk about. You have to be attentive of the things that they gravitate towards. You have to be attentive of the things that they tend to fall into, because I have a 6-year-old. When during COVID, she was still preschool age. And so I was feeling that she did miss to go to preschool, and I started printing some worksheets for her so she doesn't fall behind when she joins school. And every time I did word puzzles for her, yeah, she would do them, but she would tell me, I would rather have this in numbers, not in words. So that's a child whose math is just perfect. She loves math. She gets math quick. And she has almost zero interest in words and English and all that things. But since she needs the subject for school and she needs the subject for her academic growth, I still encourage her to read with her. I always read with her. We always would read with her to make sure that she's enjoying it. We would take turns with her dad just to make sure that she understands it's important to all of us. And despite her being interested in math, she also started getting an interest and a taking to reading. She now can read her own book. She can sleep without reading a book. She will remind me when we forget to take them to the library. She still now has an interest in reading. But even when I have my one-on-one calls with her teacher, she says, I don't have a problem with her in math, but we still have to work on this and this in reading. We still have to work on this and this in writing. And that's the spirit that parents should have, to be able to know that your child is strong in one thing, continue nurturing that, but also continue managing the weaknesses to where they realize that they still need to pass this class, they still need to do good in this. The other thing is to make sure that you're exploring what are their extracurricular activities that they enjoy doing. So what I've done with my kids is putting them into summer camps. I have avoided doing extracurricular activities during the school semester. I have just let us focus on the education part, because I think that's the most important part. But during the summer, we go out hard. They either go swimming, they go gymnastics, they go to camps where they're having so many activities. I make sure they're exposed to as many sports and as many activities as possible. And I make sure that I'm talking to them to understand what is interesting to them. And the things that I figure out from talking to them is becoming more of an interest. I then find clubs that they can join, that they can start doing that. So the same development starts early, because you don't want them to be in high school and you're asking your child, do you want to play soccer? Do you want to play volleyball? Do you want to play basketball? Or do you want to go do debate? If you haven't exposed them to that, the first reaction that I've seen is that they say, no, I'm not interested in anything, because they don't know the unknowns in those. So you have to have exposed them to the activities and let them figure out if they enjoy it or if they don't. And if they don't, there's no need to push them into it. There's no need to invest any more time in it. You just let them do what they are enjoying, because eventually they thrive in those situations. The thing you have to consider as a parent at this age is that kids have several subjects that the school has assigned them. At this level, they are learning language arts, they're learning mathematics, they're learning science, they're learning social studies, art and music, and physical education and health. So you will realize that the focus for their classes are usually language, arts, and mathematics, and then they rotate around all the other classes. Because most of those other classes, they're just introducing them to the basics of it, but it's not as important as them learning the language, arts, and the math. So whenever your child is doing this, be in contact with the teacher. Be in contact with your child's teacher to make sure that you know in what level reading is your child and where should they be at that grade level. What level math is your child and where should they be at that grade level. If there is anything you can do at home to help them get there, then that's what the teacher should share with you. Most teachers are willing to do that, as long as you ask them and as long as you're keeping in touch with them whenever you notice your child is falling behind and trying to find out what is it that they need to learn. So in summary, I would advise parents to make sure that you're teaching them good learning habits, the basics for reading, the basics for math. You're building their strengths and managing their weaknesses. You're exploring their academics and also extracurricular activities, and you're communicating often with their teacher. Hope this is helpful. If you would like to reach out to me, you can reach out to me either on Facebook or on my website, www.eltconsultingsolutions.com. All the information will be below this video or this podcast. Thank you.